Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Your number one stop for stellar reviews of volumes, arcs, or stories that us or yourselves choose. You can find us live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and the replay on all podcast networks. Take a seat, get yourselves and your opinions ready, as it's time to join the herd. But first, please put your hands together for your hosts, Shane, Phil, and Scott, as they kick off this week's discussion. Cowabunga dudes! Hey everyone, welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. My name is Scott, and I am joined by Philip.
Hello.
And Shane may look a bit different today, but it's not Shane, he's not here. We'll explain why in a minute. But we're joined by our Herd's Choice winner, Martin from Sonic's Comics.
Evening all.
How you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Not too
Good,
bad.
mate. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for choosing a book. And really looking forward to seeing how this turns out for the Herd.
Yeah, me too.
Good, man. Cool. So this week we are talking about Batman crossed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, published by DC and IDW, brought out in 2015, and we're covering the whole run, issues 1 to 6. Written by James Tynion IV, art by Freddie Williams II, colors by Jeremy Colwell, and letters by Tom Napolitano.
Nice.
Napolitano.
We've had that name before, I'm pretty certain.
Have we, mate?
I remember you saying it like that, you know.
Oh, yeah. I just say them all like that. It's fine. Right. So, before we say hi to we should say hi first. We'll say hi first, and then we'll do the synopsis. So this is why Shane's not here. He's already in the chat. He says, "Hi guys, sorry I can't join tonight, but I have no voice," which I'm sure most of you would be happy about. I'll be in the chat though. Also, first in, whoop whoop. Hello, buddy. Hope you're doing okay. Hope your voice gets well soon. And yeah, to run a podcast, it's quite necessary to have a voice. So, although it would have been nice to see your face, get well soon. Get well soon. We've got ALB 0811. It's almost pizza time. Yes, it is. And he's also wishing Shane well. Liam's here. Howdy ho, I made it. Unfortunately, I haven't read along, but I have read this book previously. Does that count? Yeah. Yeah. Ish? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
And we also have Lewis as well. He's here. Howdy doody. Howdy doody. Thank you for joining, Lewis. Hope you're doing well. Right. What is this book about? Let me tell you. So the Turtles, all four of them, and their arch enemy, the Shredder, have been transported to an alternate universe by Krang. They get transported to Gotham City, and they end up meeting with Batman, and they clash with a series of members of his famous rogues gallery while attempting to find their way home. In the background of all of that, the mutagen that turns them into humanoid turtles is degenerating, and the whole risk in this story, I think, is, you know, if they don't get home in time, they will turn back into just normal turtles. So that's the motivation for them to get back home. Yeah, that's it. That's the story.
See you later.
Bye. Martin, mate, you chose this
Yeah.
book. What did you think? Oh, first of all, I always like to ask, why did you choose this book?
I have had this on the shelf for a very, very long time. I'm talking years. I'm not even ever opened it. It's one I wanted to read. And I thought it'd be fun just to chuck something in there that was not too serious, a little bit, you know, fun, a little palate cleanser maybe in between other books that we've read.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a bit of Batman. You can't go wrong with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, so
Yeah.
see how it land.
We haven't had that many crossovers on the show. We've had DC versus Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, or any more? I think that's the only one.
I think that's the only one.
Yeah, so this is our second crossover.
Yeah.
Unless someone in the chat wants to correct us, feel free. So yeah, okay. So did you? So there's this story, and there's also Batman TMNT 2, Batman TMNT 3. Is it only this one you have on your shelf?
No, I've got all three.
You got all three? Okay.
All three.
FYI, for anyone who did enjoy this story, if you have read along, the omnibus collecting all three stories will be out in December this year. So
Yes.
if you like this and you go, oh, I want to get all of these, feel free to get the trades, of course, but just keep that in mind if you want to have the whole thing in one bulk. There we go. Martin, what did you think?
Overall, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I went in with an open mind because I think with crossovers, you're going to be touching different bits of lore. Is it going to mold well? Is it going to be something that's going to land? I don't think it was a masterpiece, but I do think I enjoyed it. There was a lot of things in it that did touch on a lot of their lore, and I did think there was quite a few little cameos in it as well from other characters outside of the title characters, which was great to see through the book. Overall, I'm glad I've got it. Let's just say that I'm glad I got it.
Great. There is that risk, isn't there, of crossovers being cheesy?
Yes.
Like
much so.
Are the creators doing it just to sell some books, just to get some money in, and people do worry, and that was something I did worry about. Is this going to be just another cheesy crossover, just a bit of a cash cow or whatever? Two really popular franchises coming together just to team up and make a bit of money. But I don't think this was the case. I don't think it was cheesy. I thought they really tried their best to merge these two universes together to make a coherent story, and these characters getting on and understanding each other, and them both being motivated, for the same cause. In this case, it was stopping Shredder from mutating all of the Arkham Asylum inmates and getting the Turtles home. I don't think it was cheesy. Quite well done, but not a masterpiece.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
The crossovers, as you had mentioned, they don't tend to go into it thinking they're going to create something spectacular that's going to be the best thing ever. They know what they're getting. They're established characters in different worlds, as you said. So what can you really do? Because they haven't got the same problems, that each of them have, whatever. If anything, my disappointment falls with the fact that I would much prefer the TMNT to cross over with Daredevil rather than Batman.
Right, wouldn't it?
Because I don't know if it's confirmed or if it's like a thing, but they basically say the same things that made Daredevil go blind is the same mutation that created the TMNT in New York City. That's the word, because apparently the TMNT guys were fans of Daredevil, and that's where they got that from.
Right.
So that would have been a good crossover. But then, of course, you wouldn't have had the whole interdimensional crossover, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't cheesy, but it's weird because it's not the best version of Batman, and it's not the best version of TMNT. Do you know what I mean? But it's a good fun romp of a 6-issue miniseries, I thought.
I guess you've read a lot of both, haven't you, Phil?
A lot more of Batman, but some of TMNT. Yeah.
Well, way more than me for TMNT. I haven't read TMNT. My only experience is with the cartoons and the live action films and stuff like that. Which are fun. So it's interesting to know. But have they dumbed both of them down in order to make this to be like a coherent and decent story? I don't want to say dumbed down. I don't mean dumbed down. I mean just toned it down.
No, to be fair, I think with Batman, yes, this is not the normal Batman that you're used to. The TMNT, I think they come across quite well in terms of Raphael's the kind of hothead, Michelangelo's the Joker. Yeah. It's all coming across well enough as they would do. Again, with Splinter and stuff. I thought Splinter was really cool in this, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Batman himself didn't seem the normal Batman. He had to be. He was caught out. Something that he didn't expect to ever see caught him out, but not in a good way. That's we've seen Batman darker, and Batman should never get beat in a fight by Leonardo. No offense to the Turtles, but just that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, carry on. I forgot what I was going to say.
Just I want to highlight this comment from Shane. It said, "This is why the TMNT have the foot and the Daredevil has the hand." That is another
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I think the two are linked. At least like Eastman and Laird are big fans of
Mm.
Daredevil, and probably more importantly the Frank Miller stuff, because obviously the hand and the foot.
I think that is actually a thing.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
actually true. This is where they
Right.
got the inspiration.
And the likes of obviously the whole kind of like what would you call it, the ninja style fight. And even like Elektra has those, I don't know what they're called, the things
Sai.
Sai. So
Yeah.
she has them, Raphael has them too. So there's a lot more links to Daredevil. Which I've never heard of a Daredevil crossover, but that's one I think I'd rather see
Yeah,
than this.
that'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? So this series must obviously be popular enough to warrant 3 sequels. I don't know why they did the second sequel, but the reason they did the third one was because Batman's 80th and TMNT's 35th anniversaries coincided. So that's why they did that. But I don't know if there's a reason for why they did the second one. But Turtles are a popular franchise, I think, to crossover with, because there's also the Power Rangers stuff now. They're now going into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and TMNT 2, going to do a sequel of that.
Isn't there a Justice League and Power Rangers as well?
Yeah, Justice League and Power Rangers, yeah. Godzilla and Power Rangers. But there's loads of stuff like that.
See, that's the problem I have with crossovers in general. Like you more than after the Godzilla one there, like you do tend to think, oh, they're a bit stupid, Godzilla and the Power Rangers crossing over. I think that too. That's why I would never tend to buy them. I think the only reason why I have all the singles for this 1, 2, and 3. And the only reason why I bought them was because people were saying this was good. So I was listening to their opinions and picked them up. And I too am looking forward to that omnibus that was meant to come out last year, but was unfortunately cancelled, and then they resolicited. So hopefully it does come out in December.
Yeah. Let's talk about the art. This was something that really, really drew me in. I really enjoyed it. It was stunning. Like I don't think I've ever read anything by Freddie E. Williams II. But I loved it. It reminded me of, what's his name, James Sotake or something like that. He did Orphan and the Five Beasts, and it's like it's more detailed than this, but it's similar to this kind of style. But I like the style of art so much. I tried to find out what kind of style it was, and if there's a particular name to it or whatever, but there's not. Like, all I could find is that he was like a traditional artist, in his methods, but he primarily used digital art, but he kind of then adopted like this hybrid method. And you can see him talk about that in the DC's Comic Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics. But as well as doing that, most of it was traditional, and he did like ink washing and stuff like that. But then I looked into him, and he won an Eisner Award. Not for this book, for Seven Soldiers, which featured Mr. Miracle. And he's also drawn loads of characters, just loads of character art, like Robin, Flash, Green Arrow, Conan, Star-Lord, Thor. Done all those. And I don't know. I really like this guy.
I didn't love the art. I liked it, but I didn't love it. There's something about it just... I mean, it's not unpleasant to look at. I mean, you're having a good time reading the story, and the art's fine for what it is, but there's something about it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. I don't know what it is. I think it's the kind of like the thickness of all the characters. Like, they all have big, thick booties and legs and feet and everything else. Like, it's just everything just seems bigger. And that's obviously a style choice. It's just fair. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It's just it stands out for me. Like, you don't normally see. Well, the Turtles you can understand because they're turtles, but again, Batman, you don't normally see him. Like, Batman's athletic and all, but he doesn't squat that much. so he shouldn't have.
You don't know what he
glutes.
does between issues.
Yeah, he shouldn't have glutes and quads as big as they are in this. But
His glutes have glutes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But,
Shane was saying the only thing he didn't like in this book was the ugly Batmobile.
Yes, I was going to say that. That's one of the things that put me off. I do understand what Phil's saying, because there is one particular image that I just I couldn't get past, and it was the first page of seeing Batman when he's sort of on the first issue. There's just that his size just looks odd.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that through the rest of the book. I don't know, I just ignored it, I think.
I know what you mean.
But genuinely, I thought it was good. I liked the artwork on it, especially with the turtles. I love the differentiate, like how different the turtles were, and I like it that he chose a different artistic style from what was currently going on in Batman and what was currently going on in the Turtles. This is very different from the IDW look.
Yeah,
No,
I loved it. I was there for it. It was just the little details, like even like the differences between their eye masks. Raphael's a bit cut and jagged and a bit torn.
Yeah.
But then like which one's the blue one?
Leonardo.
His looks really like neat and a bit more rounded and nice. And it's just those little touches. Even though the color obviously tells you which one's which, and their skins are slightly different shades of green. So it's stuff like that. But
I did notice the kind of bandana thing and the eyewear thing, because I did notice that. But now you mentioned that, like, that's a good way to kind of using the art to portray the characters, because Raphael being hothead, he would dive in head first. There were scenarios where Leonardo was the kind of thinker and the kind of strategic warrior, if you know what I mean. So that would make more sense. But I didn't notice that, so well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But yeah, it's not just the character designs. There was a lot of fantastic looking environmental stuff going on as well. Phil, you're a massive fan of rain.
Yeah.
Some of the rain scenes in this were stunning, specifically when Batman was taking Raphael to kind of give him his origin, his backstory. In that alley, and the rain on there, the mood. Oh my god, so good.
You felt it.
Yeah,
you felt that you felt as soon as that part started. It did take you away from what's currently going on in the story to focus on that. It was done very well.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, even as part of the story itself, that needed to happen, because Raphael obviously didn't care for the Bat at this point, so he needed to kind of connect, and went full circle at the end where he say goodbye to him and stuff. It was nice. But as for the art and the rain, it is some of the better rain panels we've seen. And if you're an OG of the Nerd Herd, I like rain and snow in my books. But you'll be surprised to hear that I did not pick a page with rain.
What? All right. Well, that's a fantastic transition now. Libby, should we go into our pages and talk about them? Yes?
Yes.
Great. Okay, cool. We'll start with Shane's. He has sent one in, and then we'll go Phil and then Martin and me. So here is Shane's. Here it is. This is where I think Batman is fighting the boys, the TMNT, for the first time, I think it was. And he said, I picked this page because I never knew I wanted to see Batman versus the TMNT. But by gum, I'm sure glad I got to see it.
By gum.
By gum. He's showing his age now.
Put that back on there, Scott, sorry. So you can kind of see what I mean about the thickness, can't you? Like, of this, the body proportions sometimes. Yeah. Like, it's cool and all, but it's just different than what I'm used to, I suppose. But yeah, I love this. I almost picked this myself because I like the idea of these two, both the Turtles and Batman, for the first time coming together and having a bit of a fight. But you find out later on that Batman was holding them back because it was all a test. Because Batman is cool.
Cool. Just analyzing them. Okay. Phil, go to yours. Also, this was also my pick as well, but I've chosen something else. It's fine.
It's clearly the best page in the entire book. I mean, you've got like 20 panels in the background of the fight scenes, blow for blow as they're going along. Of course, and you have the two of them outside of the panels, just looking cool and badass, fighting one another. And Batman's, is it the Intimidator suit? Is that what it's called?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Intimidator suit.
and it's slightly damaged and whatever else, and it's just that was really cool page, I thought, and just these two kind of coming up against one another. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, just the way it was laid out with those panels in the background, that was just really cool.
It's great. And I love the debut of the suit as well when they said, "Oh, we've made a few little tweaks," and you can see he's got like the two-toed feet, and then they've got a red bat, a yellow bat, a blue bat, a purple bat, and then a little like green bandana going across the head as well, just a nod, to the TMNT.
I wonder if there's an action figure of that, because I think I may need that. Yeah,
must be.
It's got to be somewhere.
Yeah. ALB. We'll just call him ALB or Al. I like the opening pages 2 and 3 spread where you see the reveal of the turtles in the shadows with the bandanas just showing the colors. It feels set the tone well for them straight away. Totally. 100%. It was.
That was almost one of my picks too, because you're right, sets the tone and you see him through the shadows. Really cool.
Yeah. And Martin and I have chosen the same page. So, Martin, would you like to say why you chose it, please?
I just loved it for everything that's going on. I loved it that when they used the mutagen on the Arkham inmates, and we're just seeing these. I can't think of the word now. Is it anamorphic or anamorphic?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They're just
anthropomorphic, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, just versions of the Gotham villains. And I love how they've picked certain ones to fit the characters as well. I spent a few minutes of this page just looking around at each one.
Definitely, you've got to spend time on this page.
Can you identify them all? Do you know who they are?
I know most of them. So you've got Mr. Freeze, polar bear, Bane as an elephant, Penguin as a penguin, Two-Face as a baboon, Joker as a
viper,
like a cobra,
snake. Yeah.
Riddler as a fox, Mad Hatter as a bunny, and then you've got Ivy as like a mantis bug type thing.
Yeah. What was Harley Quinn?
She looked like a lion, didn't she?
Something like that. Yeah.
Or hyena.
And then you've got
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And is it the ventriloquist on the right, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like a bird.
Yeah, I can't tell what he is. Some sort of weird ass bird.
So, who was your favorite animal version?
It's between Bane or Mr. Freeze.
Same. I think
same.
Yeah,
Mr. Freeze is my favorite out of all of these. I think it was awesome having a polar bear as Mr. Freeze.
I actually thought the Joker was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Because they built the Joker up more because he appeared earlier in the series. They kind of built him up because he wanted to come out to play.
Yeah.
So I thought the Joker was slightly a bit of a letdown at this part. He's Batman's main villain. He should be kind of front and center and be the more vicious one type of thing. But yeah,
I like that Shane's commented down there. Harley is a hyena. I think it would have made sense if Joker was a hyena. It just fits the character.
Yeah, I can see why Harley is, but yes, the Joker should have been a bit more like that. But I just feel like the Joker was underutilized in this, even though he had a sort of a major part towards the end.
His cameo, I felt halfway through when the Doctor was talking, that was the best part of the Joker in this book. And I love the artwork on that bit as well, where you just lose certain features from his face, where he's behind the glass. All that was amazing.
Yeah, that was cool. That's that kind of frosted look.
That's it.
Yeah,
Joker always looks really cool and menacing, but I just think they built that up and didn't deliver on that part. Because a bit disappointing, but he still looked cool.
Yeah, he was. Before we move on, I just want to show some more little bits of the art. Specifically, if you read the trade version of this, there are about 40 pages of variant covers for these 6 issues, and I was particularly drawn to a lot of the black and white ones, but they keep the colors of the turtles' eye masks in them. I picked out 4 just to show you quickly, but man, they are awesome.
So cool.
So this one is from Freddie Williams. This one is from Carlos de Anda.
That's quite cool.
That is
Yeah.
really cool.
That's
This one is an Art Germ cover.
Oh.
That's really nice. And this last one then, which is my favorite one, is a Tyler Kirkham
Yeah, that's nice.
cover.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
They are cool.
But they also have all of these covers in color as well. But they all had these black and white variants. There's more than that. Just a little taste. But those really attracted me. I'd love to see all them framed next to each other. That would be a really nice looking set to have on your wall, I think. But yes, just I want to say a quick hi to James, Excelsior Nerd. Hello, buddy. And Andy is here as well. He says, that was my favorite page too. There was so much going on, and the element of spot the villain added an extra layer of interest. Definitely. Yeah. And it was definitely a bit of fun, wasn't it? Okay, so story. What did you think? Was it enough? Was it too much? Was it cheesy? Was it, how was it for a crossover?
I think it was just right. I think it wasn't cheesy, to be fair. It's even though it's interdimensional travel, it was plausible.
Yeah.
Like they didn't kind of dwell too much on trying to build something else up. I mean, I was thinking, like, for example, Connie, who's not in the chat, but she was chatting to us earlier on about can she read this as a new reader. I don't think you can. Like, it's not that kind of book. You definitely need to know who the characters are, but there's nothing you need to know that's went on before, type of thing. Like, you just need to know who the Turtles are and who Batman is, and that's it. So as like a new reader going in, you can enjoy this and have fun with it. Obviously, like so, I need to touch on something, and it's Martin's name, Racial Ghoul, because it's a subject people pronounce it Ra's al Ghul and then Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
But Racial Ghoul now makes it clear as day. It's Ra's al Ghul,
Yeah.
So yeah, these characters show up and they're cool, and they're all kind of used properly, I suppose. Like the Penguin is quite opportunistic, where he wants to do the business deal and get the money, do the deal, but obviously gets double crossed, and obviously Ra's al Ghul sees something in the Shredder, which I think he said is, I've seen a bit of myself in you or something along those lines, or they're a good team or something, and it all made sense. If this was to really happen, if the Shredder was really in Gotham, you would expect Ra's al Ghul to be the one to come over and say, right, this team up type of thing. And the Turtles, you got their kind of, inner conflict with each other, and they were all shouting at each other to focus on a battle where Michelangelo's too focused on pizza and stuff. It's
pony races.
Pony racers. And
Yeah.
You're getting everything across that you would expect from the Turtles and Batman, while still dealing with this kind of story. The only disappointing thing, if I'm being honest as well, was Casey Jones.
Oh, glad you said that.
I love Casey Jones. I think he's cool. When he joined, he was cool, but he was a bit of a dick, if we're being brutally honest. I just didn't like him in the thing towards the end. We just buggered off back to his own world. It made sense. He had to go back to his world, get April, and come back again. But like the Casey Jones I'd know and read wouldn't ditch. He was dead for time for the fight. Easy.
Casey seemed more interested in getting out of the fight than he did getting in the fight.
Yeah.
He was more concerned about getting the Turtles home than he was actually helping them with what was going on with Batman and the Shredder, which, as you say, completely out of character. Other than that, I think James Tynion nailed a lot of the character interactions.
Yeah.
And I think he captured the voices of the characters as well. Yeah. I think, each turtle stood out. I think I loved the crossover interactions as well, especially Mikey with Alfred. Yeah. I loved every single interaction they had through the book. I even enjoyed Shredder and Raz as well. That worked well. Raph and Batman, just their dynamics suited.
Yeah,
as well. I think you nailed it.
Even when Damian Wayne came in back to the cave, and he was left. Was it Michelangelo and Donatello was left in the Batcave, wasn't it? And I liked the way they kind of obviously had a bit of a fight and a bit of a going on. But I like Damian. Like I like Damian Wayne. He's my favorite. Well, he is one of my favorite Robins. Even though there only is like 4. He's one of the 4. which makes no sense. But I just like the way he got on with it too. But I think, James Tynion, now this is what 2015?
2015, yeah.
2015. So he's been doing DC for quite a while, a few years before that, 'cause he was doing it in the New 52 era. But I feel like being in DC for years before that, he wouldn't have had the opportunity to like write the Turtles. So like to be able to play with them type of thing. So he's obviously a fan to be able to capture that. He obviously must be a fan. I think he's our kind of age, my kind of age, I should say. I think a wee bit older than Scott, just a touch.
I'm with you, Phil. Don't worry.
So he would have been a fan of the Turtles, no doubt, and I think that shows in this.
He was born in 1987, so he's
definitely
definitely 5 years older than me.
1 year younger than me. Goodness.
I think if you were born in the 80s, you grew up on the Turtles.
Yeah.
I don't. It was pretty much stories. If you missed the Turtles, what were you doing?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think it shows that he actually has like respect and he likes these characters and he had fun with it. That just shows across, because I'd be hard pushed to find anybody who reads this book and doesn't at least enjoy it for what it is. Like I don't think you can criticize this too much. Like it didn't deliver. Like what's it meant to deliver? It was just fun. Yeah. It's not meant to be anything serious.
No. Shane sums it up quite well. I think he says the story was simple and used all the players as well as they could and still treat them all with the respect they deserve. Basic but fun.
Yeah.
And Al also agrees. He agrees with Shane. He thinks it was a good pace and a good story, but nothing amazing. Used all the characters in both universes, but would have liked to have seen more of Casey and April. Yeah, April you see for like 3 panels, and that's it. And then she goes off. Even though they speak about her so much during the whole thing, like, we've got to get back to Casey and April. Think about Casey and April. What's going on and all this. And then you see her for like 2 seconds and then, we're going to go now, bye.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I wanted to touch on one thing. I know a lot of people have read the trades. I read it in singles. So at the end of issue 6, it does tell you they're coming back for more.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it does.
So it ends the story, but tells you there's going to be more. Another series. So they planned volume 2 before they finished this volume.
Right.
That's good, because as we're talking about like April and Casey Jones being underutilized, I think if you had brought them in earlier in the story, then would have been too crowded. So you're hoping you kind of see them more in the sequels.
I think I was trying to find the.
But I'd imagine if they're all there, it'd be too much.
Just to confirm, it does say in the trade as well. I thought it did. Martin, then, what did you think of the story about, the mutagen, the generation and stuff? Did you think it was plausible? Did it fit in? Did you like it, dislike it?
Yeah, I like that they did that with the mutagen, and they did it with their weapons as well, because they justified their weapons was changing materials. Yeah. So obviously the effects have come into a different universe, but I felt it was a nice small touch that made you understand why this was a 6-issue run, because they were on a time limit. They had to get this done. So this wasn't going to be an ongoing series. It wasn't something they just popped in and popped out. They were here by mistake. They've got a problem they've got to solve, but they wanted to help Batman. So they rid it out as long as they physically could.
Yeah.
Before their lives were affected by it. So give it that suspense for them to finish it.
Yeah. But then there was even that kind of thing at the end where they, didn't want to go with Casey because they wanted to help Batman. And at that point, they just basically killed themselves, because for as far as much as they knew, there wasn't going to be another portal for weeks. And they just had to help out Batman, because the reason he's fighting, him and Damian are fighting the Shredder, is all because of Krang, and it's their world, their problem, that kind of thing.
But I loved how it was Raphael was the main voice there, for hating Batman for 2 or 3 issues prior to that. He was the one guy obviously understanding Batman's motives now, because he touched on a few times by saying he's a rich kid and just playing with his toys, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, but it's him turn around and says, no, he's there. He could die because of what we have done. That we could destroy this world because of what we have done. It's on us, type of thing. And because I think was it Michelangelo was saying to him, we can, or no, it was Casey Jones saying we can go home, and Shredder's gone for good, never to bother us again. And like, no, that's not. He's our problem. We'll sort that out. That was cool. I liked that. But what I didn't like is the fact that Batman was basically bested by. Okay, there's a lot of villains. I get it. Batman usually should make the save. That's just me being biased, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. I think it is, Phil.
Yeah, I am.
The thing that I think is, obviously I've not read any further, so this is my first experience of it. Maybe you'll get that in the second volume. Maybe you'll see it turn on its head, where the Turtles will be more in trouble, and Batman's the one that recovers it, as opposed to. See, you do find this when you do.
There was the maybe not a hint, but something was said at the end, and before they walked into the portal, Raphael was like, and if you come to our world, you've got a family there as well. So the second book could go Batman going to their universe instead and helping out there. I'd like that. If I am going to read on, that's how I would like it to go.
Yeah, because Krang was very briefly mentioned. So would they be going to New York? Would Batman go to New York to help the Turtles take on Krang? That would be cool. I would like to see that.
See, this is the thing. That's what I'm expecting, because Batman, of course, the wee kind of gadget they had. And obviously, if you're a Batman fan, you know that now that Batman knows something's possible, he'll do what he can to recreate the device needed to get over there, type of things. So I can imagine that is what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
But in terms of the writing as well, and going back to Raphael, I took some screenshots just of like some of the things Raphael was saying, and it's like when he's giving off about Batman and his Bat Cave, he's like a person like this, some kind of crazy loner in a cave. He doesn't understand what the sense of family even means. But again, if you're a Batman fan, Batman's all about family. Obviously, his motivations are his parents, all the Robins and all the Bat family. That's his family. So I love the way they kind of like touched on that, like in a sarcastic kind of way. They touched on it. That was really cool.
See that comment. Sorry, that comment was the perfect gateway to go into that scene where we see Raphael in the trench coat. Where did he pull the trench coat from? Where did that come from?
Where did he get it from?
But I love him in that, because that's a massive homage back for me of watching the original movie. So that was a smile when I saw that. But that particular comment was a perfect gateway to that whole section with Batman and Raph having that sort of mutual moment. It was good.
Nice. Yeah. Shane raises something that I thought about whilst reading this, and he said, did anyone else expect to see Batman hit with a mutagen and turn into Man-Bat?
Oh,
I didn't think about it until you mentioned it there.
It was in my mind the whole time. I was like, oh, maybe Shredder's got a little bit more of mutagen and kind of, I don't know, syringes it into him, and he turns into a bat and essentially maybe saves the day. And I think they miss a trick. But then would it have been oversaturated with? You
wouldn't have got the cool suit though. If he turned into I think that was maybe their choice: Man-Bat or the Intimidator suit.
Yeah,
with the colored bats on it. Because I think you couldn't be both.
Mm-hmm.
We've always got volume 2 and 3.
Andy said, I did find the sudden and miraculous recovery of Leo from death's door 1 minute to the fight of all fights the next minute. He was 24 hours away from reverting back to a turtle, having to be carried to pow to fighting around. I thought that while reading it, and I was like, this guy was just like on his last legs, and now he's like up and at him. He's ready for a fight. I agree with that. It was a bit of inconsistent.
See, part of me kind of thinks, again, I was thinking ahead when I was reading the story, that came one issue too early. I know Shane's in here in the comments that in case he bring him some mutagen back, but sure, it was stolen as he arrived in the portal. They took all 5 canisters, so he didn't give any. Sure, he didn't get it in the end, Leo. He literally just got up and started fighting and was like full health again.
Yeah.
Me thinking that happened in issue too early. That should have happened in the last issue, kind of like mid-fight, where they were getting weaker or something or whatever. The canisters are there. Shredder has them. Batman gets it and throws it to him. Something silly like that there, just quite simple to do. I just think Leonardo kind of being a death's door happened a little bit too early in the story for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think we needed to see it at some point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have it would have just been this threat that nothing came of it. But now that we, it was necessary to see it. I think, yeah.
Or even like all the Turtles and Splinter at the same time kind of being affected by it, as opposed to just one.
Yeah.
And then they just said, why only him? Yeah.
Why only him? Maybe he was maybe he had, I don't know, exerted the most amount of energy and he was, feeling run down and it was affecting him more.
Because there was a moment where Mikey and Donnie both sort of showed that they were, getting a bit lethargic. It was not as much as Leo, but
Shane has made me think of something funny where he says, if Man-Bat got hit with the mutagen, would he have reverted back to a normal human? Or would it have been like Batman-Bat? Man-Bat, Batman, Batman, Man-Bat. Who knows? We'll never know. So we touched on Splinter earlier on. What did you think of Splinter with the Penguin and then Splinter with Ra's al Ghul? How did you find those team-ups? I think they were both very different team-ups.
Yeah, I thought Splinter was pretty cool. Again, he's one of those ones, maybe it's just me, I've always kind of thought he's like the older person with his little stick. You wouldn't think of him to get into the fights he does. But he does what's needed to be done. Even the idea of him following Batman back to his lab and stuff, like he's a ninja. He's like the ninja almost, isn't he? Can't think of his name. Something Yoshi.
Hamato Yoshi.
Yeah. And he's cool. I like the fight scenes he had with Race, and I'm struggling to remember the fight scene with Penguin. I'm struggling. Early on, or was it towards the end?
Well, when he turned into a penguin.
Oh, maybe it was a mind blank.
Just to clarify, I did mean Shredder. I think I said Splinter.
Okay.
Sorry,
changed it a little bit.
Definitely, I meant Shredder. As we know, I am a TMNT noob. So, how did you find the team ups with Shredder and Penguin and Shredder and Ra's al Ghul? That's what I meant.
Okay. So let's just forget the last 3 minutes of me just rambling on about something completely different. To be fair, again, maybe I'm just being biased. I get the impression this was made that like the Shredder's like the bigger bad, and like the Turtles are like like their universe is so much tougher. If you know what I'm trying to say, like why, obviously Shredder kind of double crossed Penguin, which is fair because Penguin's a plonker. But Ra's al Ghul's usually quite, on top of things, isn't he? He's quite
collected.
Yeah.
Calculated.
And I just think Shredder getting, you didn't get the better of him, but you can tell Shredder was a more dominant baddie in this. But then also, he can't be given these toys to play with and not have Shredder as the big bad. And you read that fight scene in the page I picked. So they were cool team ups. They made sense, I suppose, because I don't think the Joker doesn't play well in a team, so they couldn't have had the Joker. Being again, he would be the one who wanted to dominate. So the two villains essentially picked, that made sense.
Yeah, he needed people to have some sort of intelligence. He couldn't have had Joker, who was totally chaotic and unpredictable. Shredder wouldn't have been able to control him or work with him, side by side, and that's how it looked to me. Like Shredder, I am saying it like it is Shredder now. Shredder, used Penguin. You realized his uses, and he had money and all that, and he could help him get what he wanted. So there was that dynamic where Shredder's using Penguin, but then when it came to Shredder working with Ra's al Ghul, it seemed collaborative. It seemed level. It seemed everything was fair game and on the same page.
But saying that again, I was disappointed with the Joker's usage in this, but I feel like that would have been a more entertaining pair, because the Joker is intelligent. He's chaotic, as you said. So would have liked to have seen the Joker kind of, and he actually referred to it. He said, "I'm going to kill them all anyway. Once I kill you, bats, I'm going to kill the rest of them. They won't see it coming." That would have been good to see that, I suppose, like the Shredder and the Joker. Again, the TMNT's big bad is the Shredder. Batman's big bad is the Joker. You know, well, I'm not disappointed with what we got. Just the fact that I wish I had more Joker.
I think
don't
Raz.
Come on.
Sorry, I'll say Raz was. I think he basically picked because he was probably the character from the Batman universe that was the similar, like, most similar to Shredder, with the League of Assassins, the Foot, coming from that sort of martial arts background. They were very, as you said, very level-headed. They were basically each universe's version of each other.
Yeah.
So putting them together was an easy pick, but I do agree with both of you. I would rather have that dynamic with the Joker or someone else that was a little bit more risky, that could have, put a little bit of flavor in it that was different.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would have liked to have seen it. I think it would have been fun to read as a chaotic type of perspective, but we would just be reading it like of the whole team up imploding on itself, whilst Joker wanted to just do his own thing and wreak havoc and stuff like that. Shane brings up a similar point, I guess. Joker would have played along for as long as it was fun. Then when Shredder tried to kill Batman, he would have stepped in and turned on Shredder.
Yeah. But I know that's like a common trope they use with the Joker, but that's one thing I like the Joker. Like, if anyone's going to kill Batman, it's him.
Yeah, but it's also nice to see other villains come in and be the main villain. Yes, I know Shredder was the main villain here, but you know what I mean? Like, we actually saw, more of Ra's al Ghul. It's not just all Batman, Joker. It was nice to see other villains stepping up and being used for, interesting and intriguing stories like this.
Because Batman has got a great rogues gallery.
100%.
So, why not utilize them instead of just focusing on the Joker? I would have been quite happy if they removed Joker from his bit at the end. Maybe just show him being turned into a snake, but just left it as that small little cameo in Arkham, and that would have been enough for me. That would have been that tick in the box for me. We've seen him. You've shown him with that. As I keep going back to it, that look with the glass, with the detail taken away, was brilliant. Just leave it as that. You didn't need to give us any more.
I agree. Like, as much as I'd love to see them team up, the fact that what we did get, I've said before, was a bit disappointing for the Joker's perspective. Even had you got something like, Joker's obviously in the cage or in the cell, and say obviously Shredder was in Arkham and he released everybody, but say he did, I don't want to release him, I've got a bad feeling about him or something, something like that there, so he didn't release him type of thing, and then that's the reason why he wasn't in the final battle. That I would have enjoyed that. You're right, that cameo was enough, but the end bit was disappointing. So if you're going to use the Joker, either use him or just tease him and don't really use him,
all or nothing.
Yeah, kind of like
essentially. And Al is just saying different villains that also could have worked. So let's talk about this, okay? So he says, maybe Joker is too mature of a tone. I feel like Mr. Freeze or Bane would work better with Shredder. Those could have been interesting team-ups, but he does agree that Ra's al Ghul was a good pick because of the martial arts side of things. So Mr. Freeze then, how do you think that would have gone? Very intelligent man.
The motives have been slightly different.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Freeze, but I think his motives in general don't correlate with the Shredders.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze doesn't want to take over anything. He just, his love is for, what's his partner's name? I forget her name. Nora, that's the one. That's his, essentially that's his motivation.
Yeah.
So, and Mr. Freeze can sometimes be an is he an anti-hero? He's not really an anti-hero, but he's never always the villain. Sometimes he works with Batman.
Yeah,
so for this purpose, I don't think Mr. Freeze would have worked. Would have been fun to see in a different light. Bane definitely, but again, I think Bane like I know and Shredder would have clashed a lot. So that probably wouldn't have worked. But he mentions Deathstroke later on there in one of his comments. That I hadn't thought about that until you just said it there now, and that would have been cool. Him fighting against the Turtles would have been really cool. Yeah, that's actually something I wish we had got now. A scene with Deathstroke fighting the 4 Turtles with swords and weapons, that would have been so cool.
That would have been really cool. Yeah. Now that we are talking about different villains teaming up, it's quite an interesting thought experiment. And how could have the the story gone? Would it have gone differently? Would the fights have gone differently? Would everyone reacted differently?
Yeah.
How would
It's
have that gone?
connecting, isn't it? It's connecting those characters with their sort of origin and backstory we all know to be involved with the Shredder, with the mutagen, something that ties it in. I was just thinking then when you said about Mr. Freeze, they could have done something where the mutagen allowed Nora to come out of the a frozen state, and maybe they manipulated Mr. Freeze to help along, but I'm just snowballing here. Where's Shane when we need him? Come on, Shane, we need a rewrite.
Yeah, we need one of Shane's rewrites.
He does say there he added about the Joker. If I had left him in his foggy glass cell and then at the end of the book sneaked out and had a canister of mutagen, that would have been a good end. Because then you wouldn't need to say there's a sequel coming, because I think we would just know. That snip at the end, we would just know. That would be cool.
Yeah,
this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking ahead. Like, again, using the Joker, we've had the TMNT's big bad and the Shredder. Maybe the Joker should go back to New York City then.
Follow Batman through.
Yeah, just so he's the big bad. That's what I want to see, actually.
Yeah.
So, obviously, it's been written, so
yeah. Did this end with them all still out of their cells? They didn't put them all back in, did they?
They mentioned something about keeping them in their cells, waiting for the mutagen to wear off because of Argus coming in and managing them for a few months. Something like that.
I was going to say maybe that could have been a cool thing where they just they're still all roaming free, and then it would have been. Sorry, I'm just looking at Shane's new title for Volume 2, Old Jokes, New City.
Is he saying that's his title, or that's the title? I
think that's his title. I don't think any of them have titles. They're just Batman TMNT 1, 2, and 3.
2.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring up? The only other thing I think, Phil spoke earlier about Joker's involvement, but we've already hit on that. Yeah, but I agree. I agree with you that it should have been all or nothing. It should have been, the tease would have been really good just to stay like that. Yeah, and I don't see the point of the whole Cobra bit where he's like standing behind him saying, smile, Batsy, and then nothing happens. It all just seemed a bit like, okay, Joker's here. He looks like a Cobra. Let's have a little scene with him, and then that's that.
Yeah. The other thing that, again, my bias, how the Turtles and Shredder were so much better than this universe. The fact that the Turtles broke into the Batcave, they just crawled into the Batcave, we bypassed your security. It's like, I'm Batman. You don't just bypass my security.
Yeah,
I know the Joker. The Joker himself has sneaked into the Batcave a few times, but just you wouldn't expect 4 turtles from a different universe to do it. No. I don't know.
They said actually the defenses weren't all that tough on the southeast entrance to this cave system, about 600 feet down and a mile out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So you had rubbish defenses far away.
See, I have seen the animated movie of this. I'm trying to separate that, but there was a comment that is made in that where they do say that we've got into your base, but we swam underwater for quite a while.
Right.
That comment's missing out of the book. Obviously, it's in the animation. So that would make a little bit more. I don't know why that was added, but it would make sense because besides Killer Croc, most villains won't be able to swim for so long like the Turtles would to bypass some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's true. But then Killer Croc isn't the smartest. They're the sharpest knife in the drawer. As you've seen through his cameo, he obviously wanted to break in, didn't he? He found
the Turtles.
Their hideout. Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for thoughts and scores?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone, the score now. If you've been here before, then please, and if you've read along, then please give us your score. We'll add it together, and we'll add it onto ours to get our big final score and see where it lands on the leaderboard. So, Phil, could you please take us away?
I can do. For what this is, a crossover, a mashup between two pretty popular IPs. I'm a big Batman fan, I'm a big TMNT fan. You kind of got what you thought you would get. Generally, a good, fun, exciting kind of story. Yeah, there's a few things that you don't like. We've mentioned like the Joker not being used properly or maybe too much. You got the big bad, the Shredder fighting Batman, which is you're going to want to see that. But overall, like, this is not the best version of TMNT. This is not the best version of Batman. A 6-issue mini, a crossover, 2 companies. You're not going to get this over elaborate story. You had to keep it simple but fun. Again, for new readers, you kind of want to see, how do you put this? Like, you're going to want to know what the Turtles are and Batman is. You can't just go into this not knowing one or the other, I don't think, because you wouldn't really get the idea of what the Turtles are like with each other. But they've done very well at getting the conversations across the right way, the way they interact with one another. Raphael's the right turtle to kind of go up against Batman, essentially, and obviously get turned around his side. And I don't know, I'm torn with score because I don't want to score too low, but it's limited for me because it was just good fun and nothing else. I'd written a 7 here. I think I'm going to stick with it because a few things that we've talked about, I thought, yeah, that's not right, that wasn't right, but nitpicks, but there's enough of them to kind of keep my score to 7 and other cricket, so I'm going 7 out of 10.
Great. Okay. Martin?
I'm going to go up a little bit more from my original score, mainly because I went in with this with the same nitpicks that we've discussed. I haven't really come across anything that's made me want to go down. If anything, talking about some of the subjects, the interactions, it's made me appreciate the book a little bit more. I thought the artwork was great. I enjoyed the artwork. The story was, as Phil said, exactly what we expected to get out of it. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was, for me, it was a nice palate cleanser between other reads. It was a nice 6-issue run. You know, you've got to know a little bit about these characters to go into it, but, you know, best Batman, Turtles, most people know a little bit about it to be able to enjoy it. For me, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It seems like for everyone in the herd so far, 8s all across the board, and a 7 from Phil so far. But my thoughts is I think this is really good for new readers. I don't really read Batman, and I have never read TMNT. Even though I've watched films and TV shows with TMNT, I still think this was good for anyone who was just jumping in. It briefly touches on Krang. There's a lot of Shredder, a lot of Splinter in there as well. So you can get used to the characters quite quickly. Visually, I thought this was a really, really nice book to look at and to read. I loved every page. Really, there was nothing that felt wrong. I know, Phil, you mentioned the proportions, but I think because everything was big, I was okay with it. Environmental stuff and backgrounds were lush as well. Really enjoyed it. The story was good. I think they did a really good, really good thing with merging their two universes, but making the story sound plausible, and nothing felt out of place for either side. So that's it. For me, it's not an 8. It's not an 8. And I've been toying with between 6.5 and a 7. But 6.5 feels a bit of a disservice, so I am gonna stick with a 7, I think. So there we go. So all scores are in. There we go. Let me just sort this out. Okay, so I think you said 8, didn't you?
Yes, me. Yeah.
Yes, great. Okay, so Martin has given it an 8, a part of the herd. Shane's score, he said, overall, my nostalgia for both franchises may sway my score a little bit, but I had fun reading this, and the art is stunning in places, especially the faces. It's an 8 from me. Awesome. Andy, straight up, 8 out of 10. Thank you very much. Al as well as saying overall fun ride and could have had few improvements with characters or a couple spots of pacing, but great art and good action. Good enough for me to buy volume 2 and carry on with it. 8 out of 10. That's really good. I'm glad Martin has introduced you to this. This conversation, this isn't a score from Liam, it's just a message. This conversation has made me realize I don't remember this book. A 7 feels right from memory, but I don't think it should be counted, and I'll chalk this up as my first miss of season 3. Mate, bummer, but it's okay. Everyone has their lives and it's fine. So we've got all across the board for the Herd's Choice, we've got 8. How many do we have? 3. Yes. There we go. 3 8s. So your average there is 8. Surprise, surprise. Mix that with Phil's 7, Shane's 8, and my 7. We come to a really nice rounded score of dead on 7.5.
Oh.
So there we go. Let's see where that lands on the leaderboard. Here it is. Comes in 6th place, pushes Supergirl down.
By Oblivion Song.
Yeah, Oblivion Song is now pushed off the top 10, and it slots in just after Self Storage, which had 7.8. For everyone else, if you wanted to see the rest of the leaderboard, here it is, just for you to have a quick look. And that is it.
I think, obviously, we've talked about volumes too, and the future volumes and so on. And obviously, Scott, you keep the score for the sequels, for the combined volumes for the overall story.
Yeah.
I like to think this, if it delivers as it should, would score in around 7.5, 8, and at minimum for all 3 volumes. I fully expect the story to be better overall. You get all 3 of them. A few points that Andy made there about the defenses, because that was one of my gripes. He said he thinks Albert, but he means Alfred. He said put the defenses back up to full capacity, so as if Batman did let them in the lair in the back.
Yeah,
which would be good and make sense. And that's something I need to go back and read, because things like that I like.
Right,
it could have changed their score, but I think it's a fair score. 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. I think that's really good for, especially for a crossover story. From 2 different completely universes, they've made 6 issues and they've made it work. So I think 7.5 is really good.
And just like sometimes I think you said it's going to 6.5. I think sometimes people think if you score it, they're a 6 is a bad thing. 6 is a really good score. There's a lot of good stories out there.
Yeah, 5 is average. Yeah, 5 is average. So 6 is not bad. No. Okay.
Gonna keep bringing that up. Okay, so before we go, we should tell you what we've got coming up next week, and we'll also tell you what we've got coming up tomorrow from Kev's Draw Along as well. But first, here is what we've got coming up next week. There we go. So next week, start of a new wave, and it's Phil's pick this time. Phil, for the podcasters, what are we reading?
This is Marvels from 1994, written by Kurt Busiek and art by Alex Ross.
That's awesome. Looks lush.
I think it's Alex Ross. Please tell me
it is. It's Alex Ross.
Must be.
I'm quite looking forward to seeing your opinion on this and see how it reflects against Kingdom Come.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. But I picked it because this has been on my shelf for a long time, and I need to read it because it's one of those ones that you really should read, apparently.
Yeah, right. Great. And tomorrow night, keeping in with the theme of the Turtles, Kev will be showing us tomorrow specifically how to draw Leonardo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That looks awesome. So if you want to go and have a look, 7 o'clock tomorrow, the video will be coming out and you can follow along and draw along with Kev as well. Don't forget to send us any pictures that you, or send him any pictures that you draw as well. He loves it. He loves it when someone follows along and sends in a picture. But that's it. Nothing else to report from us. We've been the Nerd Herd. We have been looking at Batman TMNT Volume 1, and all we've got now left to do is to get our waves up.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Love you.